So, now what? What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? What's going on, Basement Brother? Guys, I'm up here in Forest Lake visiting the video game store in the far north. Where is the laser? I want the laser. This sucks. Can't stop that stuff. You gotta punch it. Point-and-click adventure games. A staple of the 1980s and early 90s that were mostly found on PC and Mac. And I played a lot of them. From all the LucasArts games like Maniac Mansion, Zack McCracken, and Monkey Island, to the Sierra lineup like the King's Quest series, and maybe even a couple of the Leisure Suit Larry games. But there was a series of games on the NES that were brought to us by Kemco that I played the hell out of. Shadowgate, Deja Vu, and the Uninvited. These are known as the MacVenture Series, which was released on Apple Macintosh systems from 1985 to 1988. No, not that Mac. This Mac. Those big bricks that if you're in your 30s will remember filling up your computer labs in school. These point-and-click games were each laid out in a series of frames. The visuals were in the upper left corner. These still frames were fully interactive. Whatever you touched would be described in the text panel on the bottom. The upper right panel was your inventory and other useful things like spells and maybe addresses, your address book, depending on what game you were playing. On the bottom was where all the commands were located. If you wanted to take an item, you'd click Take and then touch the item up on top to put it in your inventory. Down in the lower left there was also a little mini-map in the corner showing you hints in all of the places and directions that you could go. Originally, Deja Vu was the first to be released on the Mac, followed by Uninvited and then Shadowgate, and then finally a sequel to Deja Vu which was not ported to the NES. But I'm doing the Kemco NES games, so I'm actually going to review them in the order that they were released on the NES. Shadowgate first hit the shelf stateside in 1989. My first time playing this was on the NES, and I could not stop playing this game. This game takes place in a fictional world of Tiragon, where you, the Seed of Prophecy, must enter Castle Shadowgate and solve its puzzles and confront Talamar, the corrupt wizard from the Circle of 12. I remember that I got stuck on the first two screens of Shadowgate. I mean, you go in through the first door, and then you go in and there's two locked doors and nowhere else to go. What the hell? And this was before the days of GameFAQs and walkthroughs. There wasn't any internet yet, so if you were stumped, all you could do was trial and error until you figured it out. If you were lucky, Nintendo Power may have had a walkthrough, and if your parents didn't mind you running up a ridiculous phone bill, there was actually a 1-900 number you could call for tips. Yeah, it turns out you have to open the skull. Why would I think to do that? This is probably the most cryptic of the three Kemco games, and that's because it was actually released last. But on the NES, it was the first. So the learning curve was quite steep for newcomers like me. There are so many places where you may find yourself not having any idea what to do. And this game gives you a fair amount of hints, but they are so far apart from when you first see them, and then when you have to apply them that you'll have easily forgotten about the hints by the time you get to the point when you need them. Like this, for example. This first scroll you get in the game, this basically tells you how to beat the game at the end. By the time you get there, you most likely have forgotten about it, and you're left just not knowing what to do. Or how about this? There's a room where you have to use a combination to open a pedestal to get an orb. The problem is, there is nothing in your notes or records that says anything at all about a combination. Turns out that the combination is carved into the stairs behind the Sphinx. Yeah, you see those markings? That's the combination. So you either have to have an amazing memory or physically write that down on a piece of scratch paper for later. And then there's just the things that you would never think to do. Mostly because the graphics aren't good enough to give you the hint. Like right now, where am I supposed to go? I have exhausted every possible option. Oh, you see that little black square in the corner? Yeah, no, you don't? Yeah, neither did I. Yeah, okay, this one right here, this square. You have to hit that square in order to reveal the secret passage. Why would I do that when that block looks like the thousands of other blocks in the entire castle? Oh, and this one. Well, here, the passage is blocked. I can't go anywhere here. Well, actually, you can. You need to click on this black space right here between the waterfall and the rocks to go behind the waterfall. Really, game? There's not even a hint about that in the minimap. In fact, since there's no square to click on, I'm assuming that there's nothing else to do here besides pick up stones. Don't change the rules mid-game. Oh man, and let's talk about the torches. Yeah, you hear that obnoxious music? That means that the torch is about to go out. If you don't relight the torch in time, it goes black and you fall flat on your face. I mean, with the exception of some of these examples here, this game is pretty fair in giving you clues. You just need to be really good at deciphering them, and constantly be looking back at your notes from earlier in the game. You fight different monsters throughout the castle, and even stab an innocent, half-naked woman chained to a wall. No, I'm kidding. It's really a werewolf that is tricking you. That would have been pretty dark if that was really what you did. Eventually, you make your way to Talamar's chamber and piss off his behemoth by shooting it. The behemoth takes Talamar down into the depths, and you live happily ever after with your new princess. A year later, we were introduced to another adventure from Kemco. This time we're taken to Chicago in December of 1941. You play as a man who wakes up in a toilet stall covered in blood. Charming. You quickly realize that you have no idea who you are and what's going on, only that you are in a stall, and this is not the place to be using toilet paper. Maybe toilet paper worked different in 1941. As you leave the stall, you find a dead body and also find out that the police are after you for the murder of this man. And 1941 Chicago is not friendly at all. Everyone, and I mean everyone, is out to kill you or steal from you. I like this guy right here. You can punch him in the face when he tries to rob you. Sacco! Each time he comes back, he looks more messed up, but on the fourth time you encounter him, you have to give him your money or he's gonna kill you. I guess he finally remembers that he has a gun? I like some of the dialogue in this game when you do mundane things out of order, like try to go through a door without opening it. This is how I envision this playing out in real time. Or the condescending description of places like the fire escape. So you go to different locations, finding clues about what's going on and who you are. Each time you discover a new address, it shows up in your list of places where you can travel, and this can come from anywhere, from notes to wallets or women in trunks. After you discover enough locations, you find the drug that actually made you lose your memory, and you're able to make an antidote. Then you get your memory back and remember that you are Ace Harding, Private Eye, and you continue your quest to find the people who are framing you. Now, unlike Shadowgate, this game really doesn't have a final boss or a final encounter at the end. You don't even get to see the people involved in your framing with the exception of them sleeping in their beds. You gather up all the evidence and then you dump all the incriminating stuff in the deepest depths of the sewer before you go to the police with everything clearing your name. One thing I like is that you can just go down your list without worrying about discarding evidence. Like, it won't let you discard any of the plot point items or things that will, prove your innocence. So I just discard everything down here because if you go to the police with even one piece of incriminating evidence, you will be arrested and you'll have to restart. If you do everything right, you'll get the ending where you get a certification from your own school of investigation. Or am I the player getting congratulated by Ace Harding? No, it says congratulations, Ace.
Ace Harding's my moniker. Once a boxer, now a private eye. Siegel lost his life for a mere 20 grand, so I'm off the hook. The town's really quiet all of a sudden, like nothing happened. But crime will never cease here. It's hunting its next victim right at this moment. Ace Harding's my moniker. The next case is just around the corner. Somebody had better look out. I think I'll adopt a curious monkey. The end.
And only 6 months after the release of Deja Vu, you get to enter a haunted house to look for your missing sister. This is The Uninvited. The house is haunting due to a sorcerer's apprentice named Draken going rogue and killing everyone. And honestly, I think this is the best of the 3 ports to the NES. You wake up in your car, which you somehow crashed, and you can actually blow up in the car if you take too long to get out of there, but I'm not going to show you that. There's plenty of death scenes coming up already. Yeah, I'm not sure why you would think your sister is in that house when the pendant that opens the door was sealed in an envelope in the mailbox. Anyways, you're trapped in the house now, and you have to go through the same series of puzzles and events from the last 2 games in order to get out alive with your sister. Oh, here. This is one of the most iconic moments of the game. I'm going to show you what happens when you do it wrong. She laughs as your body slumps to the floor. Alright, here's what you're supposed to do. I ain't afraid of no ghost. Oh crap! Are you kidding? After you take out the lady ghost, you're free to continue exploring the house and collecting items. You know, I never actually realized this until this playthrough, but if you take the ruby and keep it on your person, you will slowly become weighed down by an evil force until you come face to face with the Red Skull. Honestly, I always thought that this was just part of the game, and the house was doing that to you. I would literally play through this game dying every few frames and just reloading the game until I got to the end. So, unless you like reloading your game every couple of minutes, don't take the ruby. Let it be. While looking for your sister, you encounter all the creatures that you'd expect to find in a haunted house. Ghosts, spiders, ghosts, zombies, ghosts, and... Yeah, you don't say. I'm not sure exactly what this is or what it's supposed to be. It's never really explained, but for some reason I like it. And I like the music that plays when it shows up. It's just so out of character from the rest of the game. This game isn't quite as cryptic as Shadowgate, but there are some things in it that are a bit much to expect people to figure out without a guide. Like the ghost in this room. Want to know how to get rid of him? You need to throw a spider at him. Would you have thought of that? Probably no. But getting to that point is even more convoluted than that itself. In order to get a spider, you need to find the bug tranquilizer. With the bug tranquilizer, you need to spray the railing. Then you need to leave the room and come back to allow the spider to become paralyzed. Then you pick up the spider, go back to the room where the ghost is, and throw it at the ghost. Yeah, if you figured out that one without a guide, you deserve an award. You never know what you're gonna need in this game, so my advice is to grab everything that you can. Minus the ruby. I feel like Steve Martin in The Jerk, grabbing all of this stuff. I need this bouquet. And
And this bowl's all I need. And this dirty box. And this spray. And this ashtray. This soapbox, that's all I need. And this pesticide. And this bowl. And this jar. And this pot. That's all I need. Oh, and this pot. And this frying pan. And that knife. And that knife. And this jar. That's all I need.
You know, I kind of wonder what you would look like trying to explore the house with all of this junk in your inventory. This game is huge. You don't just stay in the house, but you also explore the buildings out back, as well as this giant maze filled with zombies and other weird things. You know, I actually looked at some pictures online of the original Mac version of the Uninvited, and the zombies looked way cooler in that one. In fact, there's a lot of content from the original Uninvited game that was either redone or removed in the NES version. In the original, when you first walk into the foyer, there's a pentagram on the rug. In fact, there were a few satanic references in the original that were pulled in the family-friendly NES ports. When you look at the pictures in the hallway, one of them is of Master Crowley, as in Aleister Crowley, the satanic cult leader. Master Crowley's name somehow made it into the NES version. I'm guessing those in charge were just unaware of who he was. The 666 attached to his name was definitely pulled, though. I guess the programmers were at least familiar with that. Anyway, after you navigate the many structures and solve all of the puzzles, you come across the body of Draken. You drop him into what looks like an underground toilet. That's it. Kind of a letdown final encounter. But the game isn't over yet. You still need to rescue your sister. After going through a secret exit, you come out of the house and follow your sister's screams until you find yourself in a flooded bathroom. You let the bathroom flood until it gets to the ceiling, and then you open the hatch, which leads to a secret room where she's being held prisoner. Ha ha! A real boss! He chose poorly. So you get a cheesy ending where you and your sister are all right and live happily ever after. Honestly, if you've never tried these games on the NES, I highly recommend picking them up. They're pretty common games and they won't cost you too much. I think right now, as of 2017, they're in the $10 to $20 range right now. I mean, the games can be a bit cryptic and frustrating at times, but they really do make you think, and they really make you earn your way to the end. If point-and-click adventures are something you really enjoy, or maybe you're just interested in, I highly recommend trying these games out. And the fun doesn't end there. There have been sequels to these games made on lots of different consoles. Shadowgate 64 on the Nintendo 64 is one of them. There was also Beyond Shadowgate, which was released on TurboGrafx 16. And there's even an HD remake of the original Shadowgate on Steam. Maybe one of these days I'll take you on a tour of the rest of the games in the MacVenture series. But for now, take some time and try the original Kemco trilogy on the NES. I don't think you'll be sorry.